A nice nap. It's exactly how I felt at the end of Lazio Roma, the first leg of the Derby delle Capitale, coming, what is today? It's November 12th. Next round will come in April. And this is very much, this match in particular is two matches, really. You've got this one, which was a total snooze fest today. And then you've got what's going to hopefully come in the spring, will be a much more developed Roma. That's me trying to be positive. After today, there's a lot of things, a lot of question marks, I think, surrounding this club. Guys, I'm Wayne Gerard. Welcome, Romanisti and fans of Italian football. We're going to be breaking down this match. We're going to look at the X's and O's. We're going to look at the Mourinho press conference, see what he had to say after this match. And thank you for joining me. We're going to jump into a lot of this stuff now. But I want to hit, first off, I want to invite everybody, throw in your comments, throw in your likes, all that good stuff. We'll be answering those as we go along. But let's take a look at the first slide that I posted today. And I want to talk about this one in particular. This is something I posted this morning. I'm still with Mourinho. Do I still feel the same way after today? I do. I just have question marks. I just have a lot of questions about this team. And I think through the press conference, we can analyze that. We can talk about it and really get to the honesty of our feelings and the situation revolving around a club that has had 3 pretty poor games in a row. And today, I think that offensively was just the same type of theme. Poor, 1 shot on goal. And we're going to return to that statistic many times throughout today, I'm sure. Am I still, and was I previously? Yeah, I was with Mourinho. Why? Because what's plan B? And I think that can lead Roma down a dark road. One reason why, I've been down that road before with Roma, in that things aren't going right. The team isn't playing great. The results aren't there. A new manager is implemented into a tactic which the players have not had preseason to work with. The summer, the chemistry, they haven't done that for the past 12 rounds of Serie A. We're almost a third of the way into the Serie A season. And to me, that seems like a distraction. And I think that Mourinho, being the most winning manager in European football, should be allowed to finish out his cycle. And I believe that's what he wants to do, unless this possibility of going to Saudi Arabia is something which is involved in January that I'm not so sure about. Anything that I've read so far in this rumor suggests that will be in the summer, which makes the most sense. Typically, coaches don't join like something like that in mid-season. That wouldn't make much sense. What would let's say that he was sacked. Let's say Roma get into the Christmas break and they're still in 6th or 7th spot. And well, to be honest, Roma probably couldn't do worse than that in the league table halfway in. That would be a historic low, and I don't foresee that happening. But they could do a lot worse in the Europa League. And that, I think, is where a lot of hopes are for the fans, is that Roma can make another push and get to the Europa League final again and be off in Dublin and hopefully get that gold. But if somebody does come in, who could that be? Could that be Tudor, who's said to be joining Napoli right now? Could it be even Rudy Garcia, who takes over? That would be pretty interesting, not going to lie. And think of that, because he's about to be fired from Napoli. Potter. People would even see Potter join, Graham Potter. Would that make sense? I don't know. Conte until the end of season, or you give Conte a 3.5-year salary? Maybe, but these seem like big risks. I don't like risk-taking. I want to see Roma get better results, stick with Mourinho, because that would be the logical thing to do while he gets results for the team hand in hand. It's not black and white, one against the other. It's not Roma versus Mourinho and vice versa, right? I want to see both of them do well. And then time comes for summer. We can look at Malta's Bologna, how he's coaching them. There's a couple other coaches I would definitely be intrigued with. Of course, De Zerbi, but I think he's going to go to like a really top elite level club at this point. So that's where that came from, that opinion. And I want to also jump to some scenes today. I want to share these. You've got to see what it was like today at Roma Club New York. I'm going to put this volume up here and enlarge your screen. I'm going to rewind 1 second. What is content for? What's the purpose of all this? Check this. This, man. What a striscione. I got distracted. I didn't even see what it says. If the boys are united, it'll never be a loss. I was so caught up with just the idea of it. There's my buddy Giovanni Peluso, which was cool to see. A lot of people today actually showed up, which was over 250 people at Roma Club New York. So that was very nice to see. I'm going to stop sharing this for 1 second. So many different people that I've known throughout the years. I was talking to my buddy Chicho on the way here today, back to Jersey City, driving home after the match. And he was like, how long you been going to Roma Club New York? And I was like, yo, honestly, at this point, like 11, 12 years, perhaps. So you recognize these people, even if you don't know their names through the years, and even people through social media, like, hey, Wayne, blah, blah, blah. I watch your stuff. I'm like, yo, thank you. Because that's very cool. It's awesome for me to hear. But we'll get back to Roma Club New York in 1 second. I just want to address some comments coming in. Mr. Manyanga says Mourinho needs to be bold and stop being overcautious. And I think that is a common sentiment going around Roma's tifosi right now. He says it's concerning that year one, Tammy was great. And when Dybala joined in, year two, Dybala was great, but Tammy was poor. Year three, Lukaku is doing great and Dybala poor. What's wrong with Jose? So Mourinho needs to be bold and stop being overcautious. Many people at Roma Club New York felt that way today. They didn't know why in the first 15 minutes Roma played so good and almost got a goal and made opportunities. But then for the remaining 75 minutes, it was like they stepped off the gas. Now Mourinho goes to the presser, which we're going to read entirely, and he mentions, oh, they're completely gassed. They're out. Like these boys are spent. They can't run anymore. They're exhausted. At the sake of getting a goal against, I don't know. I did feel like Roma could have pushed on a little bit. And there were many fans today feeling like, yo, this was it for Mourinho. Like, we're not going to see anything better. What's up with the team? But there is also that element of, are they tired? And were those early yellow cards really detrimental to Roma and their approach? Because once that happened, we saw them pull a little bit back. Their teeth were just a little bit out, and Mancini stepped a little bit further back. He wasn't pressing in the same way. It took Paredes' element of aggressiveness away from him as well. So the team complexion was really changed with a yellow card happy referee. And my serious issue with that was those were yellows for Roma, right? But then we saw very similar fouls to a few, I should say, caused by a few Lazio players that had yellows already, did the same exact foul. But then what? Because of the circumstances, the referee felt like they weren't supposed to be given double yellows. That's a trash decision. Yellow card is for an offense. It's not in the context of when it happens in the match and if a player is already on a yellow or not. That's the opposite of rules. That's just discretion at that point. That's subjective. And refereeing is supposed to be objective. But welcome to Italy. So it's extremely frustrating in that point. Hello, Germanicus. Nice to see you, my friend. So if you're just jumping in, guys, it is nice to see you. We're going to be covering the post-presser, the analysis of Lazio Roma. We're probably going to go about a half hour in. We're 10 minutes at this point. And the rest of Serie A match day 12, I just posted or showed the video from today at Roma Club New York. I've also got another one here I'm going to bring up. Let me go. That was the press conference I was looking at. No, I want to keep on that tab. Let me go back to here we go. I'm going to go back to my page real quick, and I'm going to take your screen for 1 second. Guys, keep those comments coming in and all that love. Thank you. We'll go back to this and jump over. Let me just scroll a little bit down. I want to show you this one too. I like this. This was kind of like my summary at the end of the match. Saying like I'm perplexed. Like Roma Club New York, excellent job, over 200 people. But really, what was it? But more so about that. We'll get to the end there. We're gonna rewind just a touch here. You might understand. Sorry for the vulgarity. So we took a look at that banner just a few minutes ago, and I think it must have been about like 50 feet long at least. I'll show it one more time here off of this other video I took. Look at how, yeah, you know what? That might be over 50 feet. It's probably like, yeah, 55, 60 feet. Everybody just in the street, NYPD passing by, people beeping, like, get out of the way. Like, yeah, no, you're gonna wait a second. Sorry, buddy. But back to the analysis. I want to jump over to the starting formations and stuff. What do we got here? We got Google, trusty Google. Let's get over there to our lineups. Provedel in net for Lazio. Left to right, Marusic, Romagnoli, Patric, Lazzari. In midfield, Luis Alberto, Cataldi, Guendouzi, who I thought was pretty good today. I thought he was going to be good. Pedro, Immobile, Felipe Anderson. Not great. This is like a B-level Lazio. And their squad really took a loss without having Zaccagni, because I think he's a great player. We might not want to like Lazio players, but truthfully, Zaccagni is direct. He knows how to score goals. He can shoot from tight angles. And they lose him. And that really makes them a B-level squad without Milinkovic-Savic as well. This team has changed quite a bit. Kamada doesn't start. He came in off the bench. He was supposed to be a decent signing. Roma's squad had the talent. Maybe they were too tired, but on paper, this team is better than Lazio's. If we look, Indica, Llorente, Mancini up ahead, and with Patricio behind. Spinazzola had control of the left flank there with Bove and Paredes, as well as Cristante in the middle. Now, the way that this works is number 52, Bove, he was slotted a little bit higher in almost like a 3-4-3, especially in not so much in collapsing, I should say, but more so in attack, as Bove was one of the outlets opposite of Dybala, who would slot in between the central third of the pitch to try and receive the ball and then make the attack click, and Lukaku up ahead. Obviously, it didn't work out all that well. Azmoun gets a late substitute, as does Salik, Sanchez, and Christensen. Meanwhile, Maurizio Sarri used all of his 5 substitutions with Kamada, Isaacson, Hasai, Rovella, and I think Vecino came in and then got hurt, and he almost even scored. So, my opinion, guys, that team should have beat Lazio. This squad on paper is better than Lazio, but I want to see what you think in those comments as well. What are your thoughts about that right now? Let's move on to looking at what's next today, my friends, is XG, because XG will tell you a lot about what really should have happened in a match. And we can see it's just about even. Roma 0.39, which is pitiful, compared to Lazio's also pitiful 0.57. Expected assists, just right about the same. That follows accordingly. 8 shots on target for Roma, 7 for Lazio. Just one single solitary shot on goal for the Giallorossi. It's shaking my head. The atmosphere, speaking back about Roma Club New York, the atmosphere today at the end of the match was like somebody popped a balloon, completely just flat. Everyone was like, that was it? Like, that's all we got? Everybody wanted Roma to go on and make the push. There's a lot of people on social media, and there's a lot of opinions I partially agree with. We did miss Francisco today. Francisco has been doing excellent work for me. If you ever need a graphic artist, don't hesitate to reach out to Francisco Dauria, who's on 24 Designs, spelled out, not the numbers, not 24. 24 Designs on Twitter. So he's been doing some graphic stuff for me that we're working with. He did a lot of my stuff, actually. He made me a nice poster in a couple years ago as well. So give him a ring when you need it. But we'll keep going on, guys. Keep throwing those comments in, as well as sharing this page and subscribing if you're new as well. Really appreciate that one. Okay, I think it's time to get to the press conference. So I will take your screen once again. If you want to read the full press conference at another time, I'm going to just read those words from the presser. He speaks to DAZN, DAZN, immediately after the match. But if you want to get in and read the entire thing, everything that, like every single word that he read or said, rather, then go ahead and check out that link that I just posted. Also, guys, if you want to join our WhatsApp group, let's see here if I can get a little tab here to copy. Anyway, let's see. Just bear with me as I do this. No, I can't figure it out. Maybe. No, I got it. I got it. There we go. Now I'm going to put that here. So jump on in if you want. Invite to group via link. There we go. And if you want, that's posted in the comments right now. Okay. Okay. Ragav is here. My friend says it's not about on paper. And Wayne, you are much wiser than looking into stats. You're the guy who's not influenced by media who speaks. Thank you, Ragav. It's not just stats. But as we look at XG, it tells you that Roma didn't really have a quality sniff on goal. That's problematic because on average, you want if you're a counterattacking team, you do want at least 3 or 4. Those chances will be quality, right? That's the whole idea. It's not that Roma or Lazio approach this match and say we want 1 or 2 chances on goal. We're going to bury that one away. So the XG is often indicative of the attacking quality of a team. Defensively, Roma were very good today. When they collapsed in their, I guess, like, what is it really? It's like it is true, like a 5-3-2, 3-5-2, whatever. Same type of drill with the wing backs there. Yo, it was good. And Dika played a class performance. Mancini had Immobile in his pocket all match. Llorente was great. I'm really happy with the way they defended. But it did feel like Roma should have been able to push on a little bit more. And now we're going to look at why. And I think Mourinho has some, people might not want to hear it, but we have to at least look at the opinions of the manager. And there's perhaps a lot of truth in these as well. So let's go to the press conference right now. I'm going to scroll down. Like I mentioned, this was to DAZN, and we're going to get to the bottom here, the press conference. First question, why did you wait until the 81st minute for the first substitution? Were you happy with this team? He says, I knew that due to the way we played today, it was difficult for 2/5 of us to play 90 minutes because there was a different need with a different physical and emotional expense. Zalewski was also there half and half. Then there was Talik and Christensen. By half and half, he means like his fitness, was not so great. He could run a little bit, but not really. Says it was also difficult for Bove to play the 90 minutes, but the ones in condition to come on were Sanchez and Aouar because Pellegrini couldn't play. Aouar couldn't play a man-on-man phase, meaning like he doesn't trust that Aouar can collapse as well and maintain the defensive structure as well. Renato could, but it was difficult for him to come on in a match like this. When you have Lukaku and Dybala up front, you think it's difficult to improve. Maybe you can gain intensity and freshness, but given their quality, the tendency is to leave them on the pitch. Yeah, like I was surprised Dybala came out at all, even though, the fitness question mark there. When we put Osmoon on, I wasn't sure he could improve anything, so we managed the match. If the result is not what we want, I like the control and confidence showed on the pitch. Lazio took hit a post, and Rui made a great save, but I always felt that we were closer to win. There was a time when I thought about committing suicide. I was very angry as a clearance. He ended up in a corner. If we score goals, I'll either commit suicide or I don't know. Oh, mama. A bit dramatic there from Jose. I kind of agree in that Roma, although like Ragav mentions, we have to look more at stats. The chances were there. Like if Bove had just a little bit more in him to get that shot off or that pass and find Dybala on the opposite side, or Spinazzola was just a touch more accurate, yeah, I agree with Jose, and Marco Galovic is going to be really upset with me. This is a good question here, I think, because it took some guts for the reporter to ask this. And he says, is there a lack of ambition? The ambition was not lacking, Mourinho responds. The freshness was. I haven't seen the data yet, but it seemed to me that in the area, Bove had 2 balls, which with more clarity and freshness, he could have scored. And this is exactly what I'm saying, guys. It's difficult to have 8 scoring opportunities, but you can have control of the match. We had it against a team that usually dribbles. I have doubts that they had more possession and control than us. Agreed. But it could have seemed a little bit like a lack of ambition. But I tell you that instead, it was fear of the referee. At halftime, I told Karsdorp and Spinazzola, since Mancini and Ndicka were booked with their 5th player jumping aggressively, they were in a one-on-one situation with Pedro and Felipe Anderson. I told them that we had to protect the boys booked by not jumping in an aggressive way as we wanted. So yes, the fear of the referee made us lower. Then we played quite well with the ball, but we wanted to attack them higher, like at the beginning. Can we really disagree with that? Like, let's pause there. Can we go against that and say Mourinho is wrong? Because in my opinion, and we can all have opinions, everyone's got one, right? Like hair on your head. Uh, geez, it's hard for me to say he's wrong. Those yellow cards were really disruptive to the strategy. Let's keep moving on, my friends. Will direct clashes make a difference? So statistically, Mourinho has a bad rap right in the past 2 years, past year and a half, or I should say 2.5 years, with not being able to conquer, get any points off the big teams. He says, we are at 3 points with the championship with Serie A that started with Salernitana. But if we forget the first three before the transfer window closed, in which we played with Dybala and Pellegrini out, the ranking is different. But it started on the first day. We are at 3 points from the Champions League, but it's normal for Inter and Juve to go through. Inter have a fantastic team. Juve, because they have a normal team with a fantastic coach. Kind of disagree there. It's difficult against the others. Empoli played a fantastic match. Monza played a fantastic match here. Milan drew 2-2 with Lecce. These teams are complicated. Now we have Udinese at home, and they are doing very well. Are they? Haven't really kept up with them. The championship gives no guarantees of winning matches. Let's hope that Pellegrini and Sanchez will be in a better condition. Unfortunately, Smalling isn't behind them. With this ease in receiving yellow cards, I believe that Mancini and Ndika are close to disqualification if they aren't warned, if they are not on yellows already. Last question here. Protest for the second yellow card for Immobile. He says, Colombo was the fourth man. For me, he's a great ref, and today I understood that he is also a great fourth man. He explained things to us with great calmness. He also went to Lazio. He told me something to calm me down, but it is something that I don't accept. We don't want to give these warnings for protest, he said. I told him, why do you do it with Mancini at San Siro then? And he replied, because that was another match. That's what I'm talking about with circumstances. Why with Roma does it change? And there has to be a unanimous decision based upon the things that happen, based upon the events in a match. There has to be a clear-cut way of interpreting and having the rules and actually removing interpretation. But these two matches are of the same championship, Mourinho says. We all know that this yellow, Immobile applied fantastic pressure. Immobile dominated Massa completely, saying like how Immobile was really in the referee's face quite a bit. And when Pedro wasn't on the floor, it didn't seem like Immobile was always yelling at the ref. Marciniak told him that the Champions League to go away. I finished without a yellow card thanks to Colombo, who is a top guy. There was a quote about Pedro, and this was a good one. This was to DAZN. I'm going to bring this up quick. When the referee had that criteria on us, giving 2 yellows in 20 minutes to 2 center backs, we were in trouble. The situation changed for us tactically because in Karsdorp, I never said to jump on Marusic. Otherwise, Mancini would have had trouble with Pedro, who is a fantastic player who throws himself into the pool in a fantastic way. It was a mess today by Pedro, like completely on the ground the whole time. Very frustrating player. I can't believe he played for Rome at one point in time. Ragav says, if not our kid Bove, the game was there for us. In hindsight, Fratesi, the game was ours. And defensively. Okay. Anything else we want to cover, guys? Sorry, I'm going to X out of that video, get away, go back on Twitter and see if there's anything crazy that came up. What do we got? Anything nuts? Let's take a look at the Serie A statistics. Okay, league table, I think is what I meant to type in here. Take your screen one more time as we wrap things up. We'll go about a couple more minutes, okay? Inter, not way ahead, but in first, 31. Juventus, just 2 points behind. I think, as I always mention, that's Inter to lose. Milan, though, sluggish, 23 with that draw against Lecce. It should really be 22 because that was such a comeback by Lecce. Napoli lose again. They're going to be firing Rudy Garcia, maybe Roma's next coach. Atalanta 20 and Roma just 18. That could have been 20. They could have been just 1 point at a fourth at this point, which would have been beautiful, but thus is life. And there are 28 more matches, 28, 26 more matches in order to get that fourth spot, or go ahead and win the Europa League final, which is what I would really love to see Roma do out in Dublin. We'd all be there, wouldn't we? Salernitana not having a good season after their success against Roma earlier on. Verona, poor. Cagliari, poor. Empoli, 2 wins. I didn't even know they scored goals. Was that 5 goals on the season? Yeah, 5 goals after 12 rounds, and they're out of relegation. Only in Serie A could you get away with that. Anyway, guys, you know what to do. I don't got to tell you. Thanks. We'll be in touch. Like I said on YouTube, I mentioned this every day. There's going to be something, whether it's a post, a short, or a preview, or a live stream. I'm going to bed. I'm exhausted. Ciao, guys. Bye.